Hi, Corey here. Welcome back to 3001. We're coming to the end of the semester. We're almost done. We only have a few classes left. Today we're going to talk about the message. Okay, so the message, this is after you've done all of your research, you're going to think about what are you going to actually say. Something you obviously is very important because even the best products still need to communicate to their customers. So today, by the end of the lesson, you will be able to identify which brands have consistent messaging and which brands have inconsistent messaging. When you first start out, one of the things you want to think about is what type of message are you going to do? What is the overall goal of your message? Is your message to inform your customers? Is it to sort of educate them so that they know what product you're selling? What is the product that they're actually looking to buy? Is it just pumping awareness, simply getting it out there so people actually are aware your product exists? Or is it a call to action? What a call to action means is getting them to actually buying and say, come and buy our product right now. And the last one is developing their attitude, getting them so that they look at your products and they think these are products that I actually want to buy. You're sort of controlling your image. So there's 4 types of them again, really quickly. Your first one is to inform them. Your second one is to push awareness. The third one, work on your attitude or image. And the fourth one, when you feel like they're ready, you look for a call to action. Before we can get too deep into all this though, you have to do a quick review of everything we've talked about this semester. That's why the whole semester has been building up, I like to say, as a waterfall. So one of the things I really pride myself on in this class is that everything happens for a reason. Unlike other classes where it's oftentimes you just follow the textbook and it kind of feels like it's like a here and there, wishy-washy, what are we actually going in this class? Everything is building up. Every single week is building upon the last week. And I'm gonna actually attach a drawing so you can see how it's constantly building. So I like to describe it as like a waterfall and not like a star where it's random. So if you skip steps in the waterfall or in the lessons, you don't know what you actually should be doing next. And so this is why the backbone is all about research, because when you have thorough research of your customers and you understand the products and their decision-making process, is it high learning? Is it low learning? Is it emotional? Is it cognitive? When you know this decision-making process that your customers go through, then you can take the next step. When you understand the buying process that they go through, what was the trigger? What did they do next? Where did they buy it at? Why did they buy it there? What was their post-purchase? What did they do after they bought it? All these things, when you think about all of this stuff, you can start to develop a message that's going to connect with your customers in a way that they feel like this is the product that I need to buy. This is the product that's going to solve the problems that I'm looking to solve. This meets my needs. This has great benefits, or it gets rid of the cost that I don't, or the fears that I'm trying to avoid. The other big thing is you have to know where it is in the product life cycle. Is it in the introduction? Is it in the growth? Is it in maturity? Or is it in decline? Because depending on where it is, like we talked about before, you have to change your message to meet each individual section's needs. As we said in the beginning, when it's introduction, it's all about information. It's all about brand awareness, simply because people don't know you exist. They have no idea you're there. But once you get up into growth and you start getting up into maturity, now you can focus on your attitude, you can focus on your image, and you can really, really drive home the call to actions. Because people already know you exist. They already know what your product is. So now you're really focusing on controlling that attitude so they think you're fun, or they think you're serious, or they think you're safe, or whatever it is that your goal is. And then you're bringing home that call to action. Come buy our products. We're going to solve your problems. And so if you do call to actions in the introduction phase, it's going to fall flat because no one has any idea what your product actually is. But if you do the call to action, meaning like come buy our products, in the growth area or at the end of the growth, people already know what you are or who you are, and so you can become successful. One of the things you have to remember is the goal of the message is always driving consumer engagement. How can you get consumers to engage with our product? How do they engage with it, whether it's emotionally, cognitive, which is like thinking? How are you going to get that engagement? How are you going to get them? Because if they don't engage with your message, they're not going to buy a product. And this is why we kind of talk about like why it's so important to have a clear message, but why it's also so difficult, because as you know, you see 1,000, 2,000, maybe 10,000 ads a day. And so how are you going to get your customers to see your ad? And then they actually engage with that ad. They actually think, this is the ad that I want to read. I want to pay attention to the video. I want to click the link. I want to go to Target. I want to go to Walmart or Cub, wherever it is, and I want to buy this product. How do you get them to actually engage so that they think about it, or they laugh at it, or they get scared, or whatever your goal is? How do you actually do that? If you can't drive consumer engagement, then everything you're doing is basically useless. And so that's why all of the research is so important, because if you've done thorough research, which we've talked about this entire semester, you have all this knowledge of your customers, the perfect product, the perfect target, the perfect everything. Now you can get a message that you know for a fact that they will engage with. And that's how you drive success. If you can't say, our customers are going to engage with our brand because of or they're going to engage with our product or our message because of that's when you struggle, right? That's when your brand is really, really having difficulties. So one of the things you talk about here is, this is a big thing, I want to go slowly through this, is the 6 M's. Mission, market, message, media, money, and measurement. Traditionally, people talked about mission, which is your mission statement. You're an objective of your company. They talked about the market. What market are you in? Who are your customers? Who are your competitors? What is your message? What message are you delivering? And what media, what channel are you using? So once you know your mission, your objective, you know the market that you're in, you know who your competitors are, you know who your customers are, you can make your message that's going to connect with them, and then you can make it through the right channel. You know that your customers are on TV, or they're on radio, or they're on Netflix, or they're on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. You know where they're at. So if you can connect those 4 together, you can start to drive a successful marketing plan. But there's 2 more that are important that have come recently. These aren't traditionally part of the marketing plan, and I add them into this because I think they're so valuable, and they've become much more valuable, and they're going to become much more valuable simply because in today's marketing world, which we listened to from Katie's interview, analytics are very heavy, which allow everything to be tracked. So the first one's measurement. Now you must have goals, and goals don't always mean sales. You have to have analytics. What is your conversion rate? How many visitors are we getting to our website? How many people are viewing our ad every day? How many people actually read our ad every day? How many people come to our store every day? Much time do they spend in our store every day? What aisles do they walk in every day? This is all measurement. And the reason measurement is so valuable is because if you can measure it, then you can understand how much money you should spend or how much money you shouldn't spend. They're directly tied together. In the olden days, like way pre-internet, all this stuff, a lot of it was just like, here's your budget, go do what you have to do. But nowadays, executives of companies, they're going to say, how are you going to measure the results of this? And based on those measurements, here's how much money you get, or how much money do you need? And so you always have to be doing this. And this is why you get into the quantitative versus qualitative. You must have quantitative data to support your qualitative data, which is your message. But you need data to support that so that you can understand how big of a budget you need to become successful.